Welcome back to another ranking, my brave companions. This time we're going to be taking a look at the wizard class. I'm going to go through the general wizard features from levels 1 through 20, rating each feature from F tier to S tier. Then I'll go through all the features from the various wizard arcane traditions, aka subclasses. All the official ones that we have seen published up to this point. And at the end of the video, we'll get a ranking of all the wizard subclasses as compared to each other. The wizard is one of the most classic archetypal characters of Dungeons & Dragons, and really the entire fantasy genre.
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins.
What can be more classic than the mage and the warrior? You can make an argument that all classes flow from these two most essential character types. And as I am a lore bard, I consider the wizard to be somewhat of an honorary colleague of mine. We share many similar interests and pursuits. He just spends more time with his nose in a book, while I'm often seeking great sources of inspiration. In D&D, wizards represent the spellcasters who study magic. They pursue it through knowledge and intelligence. They go to arcane colleges, or they learn from mentors, and they read loads of books. Stereotypically, wizards are depicted as older people, which makes sense, as their magic comes from long years of dedicated study and practice. And as well, people tend to get more intelligent as they age, both due to maturity and the simple fact that the older you are, the more time you've had to learn and develop. So while the wizard may not have innate magic flowing through his blood like the sorcerer, or be gifted with magic from a god like the cleric, there are many who will argue that the wizard is the most talented of all spellcasting classes. I agree to an extent, as there are other spellcasting classes that can do things with magic that the wizard simply cannot, such as healing. However, it is undeniable that when it comes to the sheer quantity of options on its class spell list, the wizard is number one. Starting off with the wizard general class features. For hit dice, the wizard has a D6 and really is the most physically weak class in the game. There are some great ways to mitigate this, depending upon how you build your character, but in and of itself, the wizard really is on the frail side. Wizards also have no armor proficiencies and are proficient with just a few simple weapons like quarterstaffs and daggers. Saving throws. You do get wisdom and intelligence, and wisdom is a fairly common saving throw, and it's possibly the one that you least want to fail. Intelligence saves are much rarer, but also they come with nasty consequences for failing beyond just simple damage. For skills and tools, you receive 2 skill proficiencies from the list of Arcana, History, Insight, Investigation, Medicine, or Religion, and no tool proficiencies. It's helpful, but nothing to get too excited about. Spell casting. Starting off at first level, we have the incredible spell casting, which includes both the spell book and the ritual casting sub-features. Far and away, this is an S tier feature, bringing vast levels of power and utility. It is the defining characteristic of a wizard. This class does have the most complex spellcasting features of all the spellcasting classes, so you might like that, or it might be too complicated for you. This is due to the mechanics of the spellbook and how you learn and prepare spells, but really once you get into it, it's nothing that is overly complicated. Arcane Recovery. Also at first level, Arcane Recovery restores spell slots equal to half your wizard level once per day after a short rest. It's an all-around very helpful generalized feature. Spell Mastery at 18th level lets you choose a first level spell and a second level spell from your spellbook, and you can now cast them at will. It's pretty good, but it's not amazing, as by 18th level you have so many spell slots and magic items already. And let's be honest, how many campaigns actually last until level 18? Not many. And at 20th level, we get Signature Spells. It's the capstone feature of the wizard class, and it's pretty underwhelming. You choose 2 third level spells from your spellbook, you are considered to always have them prepared, and you can cast them each once per day without spending a spell slot. Whoop-de-doo. Moving on to the arcane traditions now, we first come across the Abjurer, who focuses on spells that protect, dispel, and banish. Abjuration Savant at 2nd level cuts the amount of time and gold value that you must spend in order to copy abjuration spells into your spellbook. We're going to see this theme recur with most of the other wizard traditions. It's just a neat little side perk. Arcane Ward at 2nd level. When casting abjuration spells, you create a protective barrier that absorbs damage. It's sort of like temporary hit points. It's a nice buffer against damage, which wizards can't withstand too much of, and it does get better as you gain wizard levels. It's a nice A-tier feature. It's great, really, and it's one of the ways that you can make a wizard noticeably more durable. Projected Ward at 6th level. Your Arcane Ward gets even better now. It allows you to use it when an ally takes damage. Its drawback is that you're going to have to be pretty close to that ally, within 30 feet to be exact, and you have to see the damage happen, and it uses up your reaction. So if you help out your comrade, there is no casting shield or counterspell for you this round. Improved Abjuration at 10th level. When you cast an abjuration spell that requires you to make an ability check, like when you try to counterspell or dispel a spell of a higher level, you can add your proficiency bonus to that check. This is somewhat of a situational benefit, but trust me, when you're in that situation, you're going to be glad that you have the higher chance of dispelling or countering the enemy spell. And spell resistance at 14th level. Amazing. Simply amazing. You gain advantage on all saving throws against spells, and you also get resistance against the damage of spells. If you can get your character all the way up to 14th level, enjoy this S-tier trait. Conjurers create creatures and objects out of thin air, or they summon them from other planes. Teleportation is also categorized as a conjuration effect in D&D. Conjuration Savant at 2nd level cuts the amount of time and gold you must spend to copy conjuration spells into your spellbook. Sound familiar? Minor Conjuration, also at 2nd level. You can create non-magical objects up to 3 feet by 3 feet in size and up to 10 pounds in weight. As long as it's an item you've seen before, you can make anything. Even though the item itself is considered non-magical, like it can't be a magic weapon for example, it is obvious that it has been made by magic, and it sheds a 5-foot radius of dim light. This object lasts for an hour, or until you use this feature again. The possibilities with this are near limitless, with applications in nearly any type of situation, from exploration tools, to weapons when you're in a pinch, to objects that can distract people, to conversation pieces, and on it goes. It's limited only by your creativity and what all items you're familiar with. It's a really good feature here. Benign Transposition at 6th level. As an action, you can teleport up to 30 feet or swap places with a willing creature within 30 feet of you. You regain this after a long rest or when you cast a 1st level or higher conjuration spell. It does take your action, and this probably isn't something that you'll need to use very often, but in certain situations, it could prove quite handy. Focused Conjuration, 10th level. You can't lose concentration on conjuration spells when you take damage. This is a helpful defensive benefit, and it eliminates one of the main drawbacks of summon spells, which otherwise are very powerful. Durable Summons, 14th level. Creatures you summon have 30 temporary hit points, which is a nice benefit. It does help to bolster your summons. Diviners can see through time and space, into the past, present, and future, and even into the minds of other creatures. These glimpses can provide not only valuable information, but tactical advantages of all kinds. Divination Savant, 2nd level, cuts the amount of time and gold value you must spend to copy divination spells into your spellbook. I think you saw that one coming. Portent. So this really kicks things off for 2nd level diviners. It's a wonderful feature. After each long rest, you roll 2 d20s and record those results. At any point during the day, you can expend these foretellings to replace an attack, an ability check, or a saving throw made by yourself or a creature you can see. You just have to declare the portent before the original roll is made. So this is potentially very helpful for yourself or an ally, or something that can throw a monkey wrench or cause an enemy to fail in whatever they're attempting to do. It's useful in about any kind of situation. Expert Divination at 6th level. Divinations now are coming to you easily. Whenever you cast a 2nd level or higher divination spell, you regain a spell slot of a lower level, up to a maximum of a 5th level spell slot when you cast a 6th level or higher divination spell. This is a great way for a diviner to last throughout a long dungeon or a hard day full of multiple challenges. The Third Eye at 10th level. Your senses raised to supernatural heights. Once per day, you can gain one of the following senses that lasts until you take a rest or until you get knocked out. Dark Vision at 60 feet, Ethereal Sight at 60 feet, the ability to read any language, or see invisibility out to 10 feet. Well, it's no blind sight, and it's definitely no true sight, and that see invisibility is kind of limited at 10 feet, but it's a nice utility feature overall. And Greater Portent at 14th level. You now roll 3d20s with your Portent feature instead of 2, making it that much better. The Enchanter is one of the most ancient archetypes of a wizard. The mind-controlling, emotion-influencing magician or witch. This is something that's been in fantasy and mythology since the dawn of time. D&D sticks with this more classical definition, which I'm happy to see. It does not take on the more modern definition of enchanter or enchantment, which in video games typically just refers to a magic item enchantment.
Enchantment?
Stan, what enchantment does your Cloak of the Tiger have?
At 2nd level, Enchantment Savant. You know the drill here. Also at 2nd level, Hypnotic Gaze. This is a hypnotize effect with a lot of stipulations. You must be within 5 feet of the target, spend your action, and if the target fails a wisdom saving throw against your spell DC, you charm it. While charmed, it's incapacitated, it can't move, and basically lingers there in a stupor. On subsequent turns, you must continue using your action to prolong this effect. The hypnosis also ends if you're ever more than 5 feet away, if the target can neither see nor hear you, or if the target takes any amount of damage. You can use Hypnotic Gaze at will though. However, if a creature succeeds on its save or simply has the effect end on it, you can't try to hypnotize it again until you complete a long rest. So this effect situationally can be very useful, maybe even quite powerful, but it's really not something that is going to work or even be a good idea all of the time. Instinctive Charm, 6th level. Another somewhat situational feature here, but when it works well, it can really make a difference. When a creature within 30 feet attacks you, you can use your reaction to make it target a different creature within its attack range. So the attacker makes a wisdom saving throw against your spell DC. And on a failure, it attacks the creature nearest to it instead of you, which of course could be like your own warrior type ally, or it could be something even better, the enemy's own ally. You can essentially use Instinctive Charm at will, though if a target makes its save, you cannot use this ability on it again until after completing a long rest. So there are a few stipulations to keep in mind, and you have to use your reaction, but the potential to reverse an enemy attack onto one of its own comrades makes it really great. Split Enchantment, 10th level. Another fantastic enchanter feature and another S-tier wizard feature. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell of 1st level or higher that targets just one creature, you can actually have it target an additional creature. Hideous Laughter, Suggestion, Hold Person, Dominate Person, Otto's Irresistible Dance, Power Word Stun, and on and on. As long as you have 2 enemies in range, you get double the effectiveness with your enchantment spells. Alter Memories, 14th level. You gain this feature at a fairly high level, but it's everything an enchanter has ever wanted. Whenever you use an enchantment spell to charm a creature, it remains unaware that you influenced it with magic. Additionally, you can attempt to wipe out the target's memories for a number of hours equal to your charisma bonus. This is the kind of feature that can have tremendous impacts on social and role-playing scenes, and a clever wizard can use it to alter so much in a campaign's trajectory. My only real criticism is that it comes kind of late, so not only will very few characters ever get to see this in action, but by the time you're 14th level, your party is so powerful that very few NPCs can defy your will anyhow. Evokers are the archetypal blasters, slinging elemental rays and bursts of fire, cold, lightning. The blaster role is one that gets a lot of support by the design of 5th edition. And honestly, there are very few other options out there to defeat your enemies in combat without dealing direct damage to them, but we'll get into that critique in another video. Evocation Savant, 2nd level. It gives you plus 5d12 damage on all evocation spells.
Aha!
Just kidding. It reduces the cost and time of copying evocation spells into your spellbook. SCULPT spells at 2nd level. This is the kind of ability that every blaster mage wants, and the evoker gets it right off the bat at just 2nd level. It lets you cast area spells with your allies standing in the effect's area without them suffering the damage. This is something that's going to be helpful over and over, though it's not really an S tier, as every other spellcaster out there more or less gets along just fine without having this kind of perk. Potent Cantrip at 6th level. Your cantrips now deal half damage when the target fails its saving throw. Sounds really good, and it can be, but remember that certain damage cantrips won't benefit from this, as they are attack rolls, not saving throws. So staples like Ray of Frost and Firebolt get no benefit. Empowered Evocation, 10th level. What else could a damage-dealing wizard want but more damage? You add your intelligence modifier to the damage rolls of all your evocation spells. A tier feature all the way here. Overchannel, 14th level. So, what was I saying about dealing more damage? Overchannel cranks things up all the way. Whenever you cast a 5th level or lower evocation spell, you can decide to deal maximum damage with it. So, 48 damage with a 3rd level fireball. Oh wait, we've forgotten empowered evocation, so that's then like 53 damage with a 3rd level fireball. Or 69 damage with a 5th level cone of cold. Overchannel does have an interesting drawback though. The second time you do this in a day, you take 2d12 necrotic damage, then 3d12 the third time, and so on. This is intense. Illusionists are a tricky bunch with a slew of spells that are fantastic for deceiving, concealing, and spying. We've got invisibility, silent image, major image, disguise self, mirror image. These are some of the excellent classic illusion spells, just to name a few of them. Illusion Savant at 2nd level does what you think it does. Improved Minor Illusion at 2nd level. You learn the Minor Illusion cantrip, or another cantrip if you already know Minor Illusion, and whenever you cast Minor Illusion, you can create both an image and a sound. Normally it's just one or the other. I love this. Minor Illusion might be my favorite cantrip in all of 5th edition, and this just makes it that much better. Plus, having one additional cantrip is great. Malleable Illusion, 6th level. While you have an ongoing illusion spell, you can spend an action to modify it, as long as it remains within the parameters of the spell description. It's another great upgrade to some already fantastic spells like Disguise Self, Silent Image, Major Image. This not only broadens the range of what you can be able to pull off with your illusions, but it makes certain illusion spells reusable or recyclable, as though you're getting multiple illusion spells with the cost of just one spell slot. This does rely on your ingenuity and clever thinking, so I understand that this isn't everyone's cup of tea. Some people, blasters, just want bigger explosions that require little thought or creativity. I much prefer these trickster spells that you can pour so much imagination and role-playing into. Illusory Self, 10th level. Once per short rest, when a creature makes an attack roll against you, you can use your reaction to create an illusory duplicate of yourself. The attack then strikes the illusion, which dissipates, but the attack automatically misses you. This is about as straightforward as an illusion can get, and undeniably very helpful as a defensive move. Illusory Reality, 14th level. This feature borders on Conjuration, or Transmutation maybe. Whenever you cast a first level or higher illusion spell, you can make part of the illusion real for up to 1 minute as a bonus action. The example given is that you can create an illusory bridge over a chasm, then make it real to cross. But there could be all kinds of creative uses with this feature. It does stipulate that the object cannot directly deal damage or directly harm anyone, but that doesn't mean you can't use it in combat. Make a solid prison around a foe, or make a defensive fort around your party. Necromancers manipulate the energies of life, death, and undeath, especially death and undeath. Those spells like Raise Dead that bring people back to life are technically categorized as necromancy. They're not wizard spells, and no one ever calls resurrection necromancy. At second level, you get Necromancy Savant, and also Grim Harvest. Once per turn, when you kill one or more living creatures with a first level or higher spell, you regain hit points equal to twice the spell's level, or 3 times if it's a necromancy spell. It sounds pretty good, but is it? Between the Player's Handbook and Xanathar's Guide to Everything, there is only a single first level necromancy spell that deals any damage or kills creatures, Ray of Sickness, which is not exactly the best spell out there. And then there are no second level necromancy spells that can deal damage or kill. And then at third level, there's only one option, Vampiric Touch, which again isn't exactly the greatest spell out there. So remember what I said about 5e forcing mages to be blasters? Here it is, we're seeing it, folks. The Necromancer, in order to use his Necromancer feature, is often left with little to no options but to blast enemies with fire and magic missiles. Was it really impossible for the designers to create a first or second level necrotic spell that could kill goblins and kobolds? Here, it took me like 15 minutes to design this simple necrotic damage spell. It's also worth noting here that Fiend-packed warlocks have a very similar feature called Dark One's Blessing, which many people think is overall better, as it also functions with cantrips, and really anytime you slay an enemy. In addition, it can be combined with Grim Harvest for a warlock necromancer multi-class character, because Dark One's Blessing is temporary hit points, whereas Grim Harvest is healing. Undead Thralls at 6th level, you learn Animate Dead if you don't have it already, which is the classic staple necromancy spell in D&D, which lets you create skeletons and zombies as minions. This feature increases your undead minions' hit points by an amount equal to your wizard level, and increases their weapon damage by an amount equal to your proficiency bonus. So, +3 max hit points, and +3 damage when you initially get this feature. It's a good benefit. It doesn't make any individual undead substantially better, but overall helps your lowly CR 1/4 minions be a little more effective. Inured to Undeath at 10th level. Your link to Undeath deepens, giving you resistance to necrotic damage, and your max hit points cannot be reduced like from a Spectre or Wraith's Touch. It's a situational benefit, it fits thematically, and of course, you'll appreciate the resistance sooner or later, but it pales in comparison to the 10th level features of other arcane traditions that give more potent benefits that you can make use of constantly. Command Undead at 14th level. This is a potentially very powerful domination effect against undead, but it has a number of stipulations that rein it in quite a bit. As an action, target one undead you can see within 60 feet. It must make a charisma saving throw versus your spell DC. If it succeeds, it's forever immune to your command undead, but if it fails, it becomes friendly to you and obeys your commands until you use this feature again on a different target. Also, but if the target is an undead with an intelligence score of 8 or higher, it gains advantage on its charisma save. Also, but if the target is an undead that has an intelligence score of 12 or higher, it can repeat the save every hour that passes in an attempt to break free. So, probably not going to be taking control of liches or death knights or vampire lords, but there are some kinds of undead that you'll have a good shot at dominating. You just need to find them somehow. Oh, hello there, Divination. Transmuters reshape the raw substance of the world and all within it, even energies. In short, it's the magic of change. Transmutation affects vary widely, but they often alter or augment someone or something. Think of haste, slow, fly, alter self, gaseous form, animate objects. It also happens to be one of my personal favorite schools of magic, along with illusion and conjuration. Transmutation Savant at 2nd level, yes, it does that same thing. Minor Alchemy, 2nd level. With this ability, you take one non-magical object made completely out of wood, stone, iron, copper, or silver, and you transform it into another one of those substances. It takes 10 minutes per cubic foot to do this. It requires your concentration to maintain, and it only lasts for up to an hour. So this is another as good as your creativity feature, as in and of itself, it doesn't have any immediately direct function like a static bonus to damage or whatnot. But in the context of utility purposes, there's so much you could do. Transmute the hinge of a sturdy door or a strong box into some soft wood or brittle stone so you can just easily break in. Take a section of wood, turn it into copper or silver, and then you work it into an art piece with twists and knots and wires that are impossible for wood. Then it's going to revert back to wood. An art collector or nobility was going to surely take some kind of interest in this. Maybe someone will pay you well for it. Or you could go the other way around, start with metal, turn it into wood, and then carve and whittle it into forms that are impossible with metal. And then once it reverts back, you've got this very unique art object. Maybe a tool of some sort. There's so many different possibilities with a feature like this. Transmuter's Stone at 6th level. You create a magical stone that grants a benefit to whomever possesses it. Dark vision of 60 feet, plus 10 feet move speed, proficiency in Constitution saving throws, or resistant to one element of choice. Whenever you cast a 1st level or higher transmutation spell, you can also switch the effect. You are restricted to only one such stone, so if you make another, the previous one ceases to function. Again, we see here a great, flexible utility option that is good for a number of different purposes. Shape Changer, 10th level. You learn Polymorph if you didn't already have that in your spellbook. Once per short rest, you can cast it on yourself without expending a spell slot, taking the form of a beast of CR 1 or lower. While in this beast form, your whole character sheet swaps out to the animal's stat block, which provides a slew of options useful in all kinds of situations, from a spider or a gecko that reaches some precarious location, to a horse or a dog that can have you functioning as an unassuming spy in broad daylight, to a giant eagle that can fly or even transport your allies through the air, a fish, a tiger, a brown bear. I just love these themes with transmutation, transforming, creativity, and endless utility. Master Transmuter at 14th level, we come across another S-tier feature here, and what a wonderful one it is. Your Transmuter's Stone becomes the Philosopher's Stone, really. It's capable of changing one object into an entirely different form, or an elixir that cures all diseases, curses, and poisons, or it restores a dead person back to life, or restores youth to an older person. You do have to reach 14th level to get this feature, but holy sexy spellbooks, is it worth it. At this point, we've seen the 8 arcane traditions for the wizard in the player's handbook. It has more subclasses than any other class in the PHB. There are a few more wizard arcane traditions that are out there, and we'll get to those in just a moment, but let's see first how the core 8 match up against one another. At the top, we have Illusionist, Evoker, and Enchanter, which all three are basically neck and neck, but for a tiebreaker, I prioritized lower level features, as players are much more likely to actually get to use those. It's all fine and well to have amazing features at 14th level, 17th level, 20th level, but in reality, very few people will ever actually get to use them in play. Additionally, multi-class characters also benefit more from having a class's best features earlier on. The Diviner and the Abjurer are not far behind at all. They're still amazing options. The Conjurer lags a tiny bit, and the unfortunate Necromancer is the one that falls behind and could really use a bit of a tune-up. I imagine balancing out necromancy abilities might be a bit more difficult than other schools of magic, so I do understand the challenge there. I still think the Necromancer can be a really interesting choice for a character, just needs a little revision or a slight homebrew, at the very least, a nice first or second level Necromancy combat spell. Now we move out from the player's handbook and find a couple more wizard subclasses to round out our ranking. Seemingly in response to the tremendous amount of wizard archetypes in the player's handbook, Xanathar's Guide to Everything gives us just one, the War Wizard, aka War Mage. This arcane college is essentially an elite branch of the military that the government funds by leeching draconian taxes from the middle class. I mean, they're a college whose tradition blends concepts of both evocation and abjuration, offense and defense, in grand union, my brave companions. Arcane Deflection, 2nd level. When you are hit by an attack, or fail a saving throw, you can use your reaction to get +2 to AC against the attack, or +4 to that saving throw. You can do this at will. The only drawback is that until the end of your next turn, you can only cast cantrips. This feature is more math and statistical bonuses than magical fun and creativity, but damn is it good. Tactical Wit at 2nd level. You add your intelligence bonus to initiative checks. It's a nice minor benefit. Sometimes getting the jump on opponents or avoiding getting jumped by them can make all the difference. Power Surge, 6th level. You're able to store up energy called Power Surges. Gosh, I just want to say that again. Power Surge! After a long rest, your number of Power Surges resets to 1, and after a short rest, if you had 0 left, you regain 1. Whenever you successfully dispel or counter a spell, you gain a Power Surge. You can then spend Power Surges when you deal damage with a wizard spell, increasing that damage by an amount equal to half your wizard level. Whew. It's kind of a lot of mechanical tracking just to get a small mathematical benefit. Power Surge is a bit on the complex side. It's also kind of dry, and I have some doubts as to exactly how effective it is, but it must be good in some situations. Durable Magic, 10th level. While you are concentrating on a spell, you gain +2 to AC and saving throws. This is quite nice. Imagine this: a dwarf wizard in heavy armor with a shield, the shield spell, the Warcaster feat, and durable magic. That is a tank wizard if I've ever seen one. Deflecting Shroud, 14th level. When you use your Arcane Deflection, remember that at-will shield-like reaction, you can deal force damage equal to half your wizard level to up to 3 creatures within 60 feet of you. Automatic damage is always good. Doing it unlimited amounts of times as a reaction is also good, but it's somewhat situational and the damage amount is small. Blade singing is an elven tradition that combines elegant swordplay with arcane magic. While it sounds like something that would be for bards, it is actually a wizard option. Training in War and Song, 2nd level. You gain proficiency with light armor, one-handed martial weapon, and the performance skill. This is the foundation for a blade singer, and even ties into a nice lore sidebar about blade singing styles. Blade Song, also 2nd level. The signature feature of a blade singer. As a bonus action, you begin your Blade Song, which lasts for up to a minute. To use this, you cannot be wearing medium or heavy armor, nor using a shield, nor making two-handed attacks. In other words, you're like a magic swashbuckler. During the Blade Song, you gain a bonus to AC equal to your intelligence bonus, your speed increases by 10 feet, you have advantage on acrobatics, and you also gain your intelligence bonus to spell concentration saving throws. You can use Blade Song twice per short rest. Overall, it's a great feature. Not earth-shattering, but quite nice. Its benefits are also really good in various types of situations, often typical scenarios of either combat or mobility-based challenges. And if you combo Blade Song with spells that further increase mobility or defense, you can yield some really potent results. Extra Attack, 6th level, a standard feature for warrior-type classes, allowing you to attack twice instead of once when you use the regular attack action. The issue here is that it doesn't quite benefit a wizard as much as, say, a fighter or a paladin. Your regular weapon attacks just aren't as good as a full-on warrior's, nor are you as tough in melee as they are. Also, melee weapon cantrips like Booming Blade do not benefit from extra attack, because those are spell casting, not the attack action. In contrast, the Eldritch Knight's 7th level feature, War Magic, says that when you cast a cantrip, you can use a bonus action to make a weapon attack, which I think the Bladesinger would have really rather have had instead of just making 2 regular weapon attacks. Song of Defense, 10th level. When you take damage while your Blade Song is active, you can spend your reaction and expend a spell slot to reduce the damage by an amount equal to 5 times the spell's level. This reminds me of the War Wizard's 2nd level feature, Arcane Deflection, only worse due to the fact that you have to be in Blade Song and expend spell slots. Yuck. Song of Victory, 14th level. You add your intelligence bonus to melee weapon damage while your Blade Song is active. It's decent, but not amazing. It feels like a lower level feature. This is not something you should be getting at 14th level. I'm sorry, Bladesinger. I love your lore, I love your theme, but mechanics-wise, you do lag behind a bit. Before we jump into the finalized ranking, I want to make an Arcana check to encourage you to subscribe. So, magic suffuses and permeates all of existence. It's a spectrum of energies that comprise all elements, patterns, and forces, yet never is fully within our grasp, as much of it is unknown and unseen. Through my critiques and my stories, you will become more familiar with all things magical and mystical, and thus be able to participate in it more effectively. Do you wish to stumble about in a confuddled haze? Of course not. Subscribe, and come along with me for many an adventure and many a session of lore that will increase your knowledge and your abilities. Now we come to our final ranking of the wizard subclasses. In 10th place is the Necromancer. 9th place, Bladesinger. 8th place, Conjurer. 7th place, War Wizard. 6th place, Abjurer. 5th place, Diviner. 4th place, Transmuter. 3rd place, Enchanter. 2nd place, Evoker. And 1st place goes to the Illusionist. What can I say? Am I surprised with how this turned out? Not really. The Wizard overall is a fantastic class, and you can't really go wrong with it no matter which archetype you select. The Necromancer could definitely use a bit of improvement, and the Bladesinger and Conjurer might need a slight adjustment as well. Otherwise, it's a pretty close call between all the other subclasses. And as always, my top advice is to actually just play the character that you enjoy, something that you can get into and feel satisfied role-playing. That's more important than sheer power level. Though, in an ideal scenario, you get the best of both worlds, a character whom you love to role-play, and who also has effective abilities that play into your character's theme and story. I want to give a hearty thanks and a raising of the magic orbs to all my patrons who support me and help make my content what it is. An extra big thank you to the Adventurer tier patrons, Warser, Adam, Dennis, Vince, and Nick. You guys really are a big part of what makes our adventures and stories have real magic. And if you all out there are inclined, head over to my Patreon page. Your support gets you some unique rewards from me, and you can contribute to making my content better and more frequent. So that's all for now. I'm off to go study some arcane tomes. May your adventures be many.